OrbAid's Gen 9 ADA software with AI micro workflows. Let's get your time back. Welcome to a brief overview of OrbAid's new AI micro workflows and how they can get you back a ton of time on your day-to-day work. In this example, we'll showcase our optimized plastic injection molding workflow, and with just a couple variable adjustments with what we call off-the-shelf dynamic project templates. You don't have to have all the answers. We give you the math, and you can very quickly get to the calculations, to hopefully save you, again, a ton of time. So the first thing we'll do once we land on the OrbAid homepage here, in this example, we have automotive supplier IEC. We'll click on this tailor project to site, and this workflow allows us to tailor any of these dynamic project templates to our specific manufacturing site. So we can leverage these templates, make them ours. If we like the calculations, we copy it into our unique instance. So when we click on this workflow, it highlights dark green. Then we'll go over here to the right in this 3-line icon we call the project inputs page. We'll click on that. We're taken to just a few questions here, which will ask us for the type of project category. So these are types of projects, everything from manufacturing to packaging to supply chain, product, and facilities. In this example, we'll click on manufacturing. As soon as we click OP for optimize within the process data input field, you can see we've got a number of off-the-shelf project templates. We will click on optimize injection molding, and then it'll instantly bring in an off-the-shelf project template. On this example, we can see a project from Denso, a specific part number. We've got a description of the project, and then we've got detailed calculations for everything we need to optimize this manufacturing process. We've got scrap assumptions, we've got baseline, and then the optimized scrap. So any continuous improvement effort that we put together that reduce scrap, we could enter those 2 data points and very quickly get those calculations. Mass of the part, resin used, energy, emissions, water, cooling water before optimization. And so anytime you see these little brackets around the numbers, those are dynamic inputs. If you're just using OrbAid off the shelf, you don't have to have all this data uploaded. That's one of the nice benefits of these off the shelf templates, is you can just make adjustment to any one of these variables, use the baseline assumptions, and get to a mathematically accurate output. The operator time, time saved, labor. We can also delete any of these if they don't apply. So in this example, we've got $47,000 in net cost reductions. We have a baseline scrap assumption of 8, and the optimization scrap would be 7%. And then let's just take a look at a third metric. You can see emissions reduction, we got 1.4 metric tons. So if we make any adjustments to these, they should go higher or lower based on that. So in this example, we'll keep the baseline at 8% scrap, and we'll change the scrap optimize from 7% to 5%. And then after that, all we have to do is go back to the homepage and click the run button, and it takes under a minute, and it'll crunch over 250 calculations in about 17 different formulas and give us the mathematically correct output. And we can also change multiple variables. In this example, we just changed one. Okay, great. So the analysis ran effectively. You can see this hyperlink with our project name here. We can click on that hyperlink to go directly to the project details, or we can click the 3-dot icon here on the right to take us to the same place. We'll click on the hyperlink, and you can see our tailored project now has us, in the case of Joe at IEC that ran the project. We've got the updated variables and formulas. So we'll go back and just take a look at a couple of those numbers we talked about. Yes, we can see the 5% scrap rate that we changed from 7% to 5% is there. We can see the scrap amount. It was 0.0645. And so we have a lower generated amount of scrap as we would expect, since we lowered the amount of scrap rate. So that was calculation clearly dovetails with our going in assumptions. And then emissions reduced went the other way, as we would also expect. As we generate less material scrap, our emissions reduction goes up. So that's one of the benefits of that. It was 1.4 metric tons in the baseline at 7% scrap. We lowered that scrap number and we saw that increase to 4 metric tons. So significant improvement there, which is outstanding. We'll also take a look at cost reduction. And that too increased. So it was around 48,000 and now it's around 50,000 in this latest update. So that's just a couple of those formula outputs. And then we also have the return on investment, payback period, and implementation time. And so if we like the analysis, all we have to do is click save. And this will copy this project into the second step in our simple 3-step workflow, the saved essentially project pipeline page. And then if we want to implement this project, assign it to a team member, assign a budget to it, we just approve that. It goes into the last and final step in the simple workflow, the active page. We hope this brief overview of OrbAid's AI micro workflows and off-the-shelf dynamic project templates highlights a few practical ways to get your time back and accelerate your goals.